it would be ironic and like not funny if the season that Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow were all not there, Josh Allen has a round one exit.
Welcome to the Hobby Handbook, your weekly dose of news, deals, and data from the world of sports cards. Hosted by Alex, aka Clever Cuban Cards. New episodes every Thursday. Look for more Clever Cuban Cards content over on TikTok and YouTube. Check us out live on Whatnot every Sunday and Wednesday.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Hobby Handbook. We've got Brendan here today, and it's going to be a fun episode. We're going to talk about Monopolies. We're going to talk about the NFL playoffs. We're going to talk about some big Arena Club news for you guys. Lots and lots of fun. But first, welcome back, Brendan.
Thank you. Second time.
Yeah.
It's always fun.
Of course, yeah. It's good to have you here. So I want to talk first. I teased a little bit in last week's episode. You know, I took some time off and I knew that I had missed some news pieces and this and that. And there was kind of the whole piece of news that Congressman Patrick Ryan had gone and filed an FTC complaint saying that basically collectors' acquisition of Beckett, PSA, basically everybody refers to collectors as PSA because PSA is, you know, they are not one and the same because it is a parent organization, but like their ownership is very PSA is the meat and potatoes of collectors. Let's be honest.
Yep.
And there was the complaint that they were a monopoly, and I think that it's a very, very interesting thing. I want to first preface this conversation with, I think that we need competition in the space. I have been clear with that. I am not saying in any way that even if I argue that PSA does not fit or collectors does not fit the legal definition of an illegal monopoly, that is a good thing. I'm not trying to argue that. What I'm trying to say is let's look at whether or not there is this complaint has any legs. Do we think it's going to go anywhere?
I do, but
what do you think? What are you saying? Before I get to my argument, what do you think?
I just think you're running into an issue of you're leaving people with only one way of grading. And
absolutely.
To me, like, I know maybe percentage based, because I think like a monopoly technically has to be, I think it's 80% of the market.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. And I think they're legit at like 79% of market share. So it runs into the problems of you're just left with nothing but PSA. And there is some positives to it, because if you can distribute some of cards that are being sent to PSA to be sent to other companies, you know, you might help out PSA in the aspects of we can get these turnaround times a lot quicker, because that right now is a huge problem itself. So,
I agree with you. Like, again, I don't think that it's a good thing, and you are correct. You know, PSA's market share right now is about 80% on the sports card side, if not actually higher potentially.
Yeah.
What's interesting, though, is if you look at the definitions of an illegal monopoly, because there are legal monopolies. If you are a monopoly because you just simply do something better, and the example that ChatGPT gave me when I was just kind of brainstorming for the podcast today was, you know, king of the hill. You can be the king of the hill if you get there through just being bigger, faster, stronger, smarter. If you just are better.
Yeah.
Okay. You've cornered the market and you just have the superior product, and that's the case. Yeah. Where it gets to be an illegal monopoly and problematic is when you have three things. First off, you need to have monopoly power, which, you know, you can have that can exist in a legal monopoly and an illegal monopoly. Mm-hmm. Where the question comes to firsthand on the PSA side. What is the market that we are considering? Are we just looking at sports cards? Are we looking at all collectible cards? Are we looking at all collectibles? Because collectors in PSA, they do a lot more than just sports cards. We are focused on sports cards.
Yeah.
And in the sports card market, if you look at gem rate data, I'm pretty sure that PSA has collectors has 90% market share right now between BGS, SGC, and PSA. I think that they are doing a heavy majority of the cards that are being graded. So they have that monopoly power within sports cards. Mm-hmm. But when you expand to TCG, CGC has about 25% market share in TCG.
Mm-hmm.
What if you then expand yourself out to magazines and comics and coins and video games? And that's where it gets to be a little gray. And again, I'm not saying, even if they are not an illegal monopoly, I'm not saying that that therefore, okay, cool, we're all good to go. I'm not saying that, but it's from a monopoly power perspective. Do they have that power? And also, is there a barrier for entry that is stopping somebody else from coming in and competing in the space?
I think so. Like the other thing we talked about on stream, me and you talk about, okay, if you want to get away from the PSA side, who do you go to next? You have two real people, Tag and CGC. Well, the problem to me is, let's say Tag over the next year and a half, 2 years, numbers expand a ton. What keeps PSA from, hey, here's a buttload of cash, let us buy you as well, or collectors, but what keeps them from buying them as well? So it's like, I just feel like the whole time, if they're gonna allow it legally, we're just gonna end up in the same spot, and it's kind of like a situation.
That though gets to the second important, like the second pillar to be deemed an illegal monopoly. You need to hit kind of three different things. You need to have monopoly power.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing, which is exactly what you just got at there, is you need to have anti-competitive conduct. You need to do things that are like actively making it so there cannot be competition in the market space.
Yeah.
So the acquisition of BGS is an interesting one, because on one hand, that can be seen very much so as an anti-competitive move. PSA says, hey, we see that maybe they have an existing brand and they're known as, they have a foundation in the hobby, and we don't want them to be able to rise back up to what they used to be. And so what we are going to do is buy them up. The reality, and I think that, I really agreed with Mike's take on SCN a few weeks ago, was he's like, everybody that's up in arms about BGS going away is they were hoping for something. None of those people are grading with BGS.
Yeah. That's why
I'm not grading with BGS. You're not grading with BGS, etc.
Yeah.
BGS, I think that in this scenario, collectors can make the argument that this was not a acquisition of hey, SGC clearly was hey, they are growing and becoming a real competitor to us, and we are going to scoop that up and bring that under our umbrella.
Yep.
BGS is very, very different. BGS was not succeeding. They were, nowhere near their former glory days. So I think from an anti-competitive question, I think BGS is a lot more of a gray area. And there are other things that you can do that are anti-competitive. You can have predatory pricing, which, let's be honest, PSA does not have. That predatory pricing is saying, we're going to price ourselves so low that nobody else in the marketplace can compete with us. Yeah. PSA is doing the exact opposite of that right now. Yep. They are higher than everybody else, and they're slower than everybody else. And you know what?
Slow.
I've got 115 cards at PSA.
Yep.
But from a predatory pricing, from an anti-competitive conduct standpoint, they don't fit that aspect. And that, predatory pricing is not a requirement. You just have to you have to argue that there is anti-competitive conduct. The Panini lawsuit that I want to talk about here, because that's one of the things, Panini is suing Fanatics in terms of whether or not they are a monopoly, but then Panini themselves is also getting sued by Wildcard for this anti-competitive conduct. And this is where I don't think that there's also necessarily a example that we can look at, and I might be wrong, and maybe you can think of something that I'm not able to think of. But the exclusionary conduct, when Panini allegedly says to distributors, hey, if you are distributing Wildcard product, you cannot distribute our product. You are we are going to keep you out because you are playing games with somebody else who competes with us. If you are finding a way to exclude other grading companies, then yeah, that's anti-competitive. But PSA is not doing anything. It's us. It's you and me.
Yep.
So I don't know that they fit there.
Yeah. No, that's why I said it's just definitely right on that line of, I know people are angry, but at the end of the day, I couldn't tell you the last time I even thought about sending a card to BGS. It's not even been a thought. So, them buying it over, I don't really see on the aspects of everyday people that grade get mad, because we're all sending it to PSA anyway. Don't like what we were talking about earlier. The competition side is where I don't like where it's heading. SGC that at times we're giving very good monthly deals.
Mhm.
15 or $10 to grade anything out of top or whatever it was. And I think we're starting to see that aspect go down in the hobby, and that's something I don't like that direction.
Yeah, I think that my unfortunate conclusion in regards to collectors is I think that as of right now, they don't fit the definition of an illegal monopoly as much as I think that they fit the definition of becoming a monopoly.
Yeah.
I think they control the card market very much so holistically. You go to a card show right now and it's PSA, 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 PSA.
Yep.
But I think that they ultimately have done it through a little bit of acquisition, but the majority of it, and I think they would win in this argument if they were to get taken to court. I think the majority of this is that they are just the king of the hill because they did it bigger, better, faster, stronger, smarter, etc.
Yep, I do agree.
Now they're not faster right now,
No.
but people are still, the market is still choosing to send cards to PSA and to buy PSA cards, and that is something that obviously you can through marketing and this and that make it so that you maintain that relevancy. But I feel like we as a hobby have made that bed that we are sitting in.
Yeah.
As opposed to it being that they are participating in behaviors that would make them fall under an illegal monopoly.
Yeah.
Now, so that's PSA. I want to touch briefly. Let's look back at these things and touch a little bit because I did say we're going to talk about Fanatics too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at it. So monopoly power. Do we think that Fanatics has monopoly power right now? Or in the next year when they take over the football license?
Yes. That's what I was going to say when they take over.
I think where it's an interesting question is to me, the question comes down to what is the market?
Mm-hmm.
Is sports cards big enough? And I think yes.
Yeah.
But is sports cards big enough to be considered the market that we are looking at? Or considering the fact that Fanatics and Topps also make a bunch of, entertainment cards, I saw that they're hiring somebody for TCG, etc. Or is it just the collectible card game market or collectible card market? Because if it's the collectible card market, then I don't think they have monopoly power.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting point. I think when they get to football, if you look at it from just a card aspect, though, like you said,
just sports cards, yes.
Sports
just cards, though?
Monopoly.
Pokemon, One Piece,
not
Magic?
The TCG, Magic, One Piece, especially One Piece right now. That's One Piece is on a whole nother world right now. But just looking at sports card standpoint, I would say yes.
What's interesting too from a monopoly power question on sports cards is ultimately Fanatics basically they are able to gain that monopoly power not because of something that they have done themselves in the market, but because the leagues, NBA, NFL, and MLB, they decide and they have made the decision that they are going to give their license or license out their, name, image, likeness, etc. to only one company. And that's that. Fanatics can argue and say it was a free and fair bidding process and we just presented the better offer.
Yep.
It's not our fault that they won't also give their license to Panini and Upper Deck, etc. So I think that the sports side also raises a very interesting gray area on that monopoly power question, because some of it also is, I don't want to say it's out of Fanatics' hands because I guarantee you that Fanatics would not have paid what they did if it wasn't an exclusive license. But because the leagues decide to make it exclusive, well, there you go.
Yeah.
On the anti-competitive conduct side, though, I think that there's definitely some questions there in terms of what you're doing, buying up, they bought Tops. They won the MLB license, and then they were like, guess what? We're going to just buy you Tops. I don't think that they necessarily fit into predatory pricing. Some of the Panini fanboys may say that they do, given that like a Topps Chrome hobby box retailing for $380 versus a Prism hobby box retailing for $1,000 plus.
Yeah.
Maybe you could argue that there, but then the counter argument there is the third aspect that's needed for an illegal monopoly is you're needing to create harm.
Mm-hmm.
And at least in the short term right now, better prices, how is that harmful?
Yeah, that's definitely not harmful.
It's not. And I know that, I think that we can all agree that I wish that boxes were more affordable.
Yeah.
But the market supports boxes at their price, if not higher, because.
I mean, you were looking at, we wanted to get some Topps Chrome basketball. And we were talking about $700 a box. We were like, man, that's crazy. And then here we are later that night seeing eBay sales of $1,300 and $1,400 on the jumbos.
Yep.
And it's like, if we're going to pay that money, then you can't really. $700 was a deal.
Yep. And then to that point, from a are you a monopoly standpoint, it's if the market is saying you are providing a good value, not even just like a fair value.
Yeah, I mean, that's twice the price.
It's tough. So exactly. I think that it's one of those things that I think that we as a collective hobby look at the things that are happening and say, we don't like that power's being consolidated, which I think is a very, very fair thing. And it's a fair thing to be concerned about. 100%. But I think, unfortunately, we are making our own bed.
Yeah.
On the collector side, absolutely. And on the, Fanatics top side, by supporting prices at this significant double what retail is.
Yep.
They have the easy argument of, look, we're providing a great value for our customers.
Yep.
And so I think that it muddies the waters and makes that argument very, very hard. Unfortunately, that they are a illegal monopoly. I think that they are becoming monopoly power, but I think that that's just, they have the argument of we're doing it bigger and better, and that's that.
It's always going to be right on that fine line.
So enough about monopoly powers. I do want to talk about a really, really cool thing that is, I believe, being announced today, which is that Arena Club is launching a partnership with the San Antonio Spurs. I don't know if you knew this. I knew this because I got the little press release beforehand as somebody who works with them. But they are doing a in stadium stuff with San Antonio Spurs. I'm going to read off the little press release here. The San Antonio Spurs are excited to announce a new partnership with Arena Club, the collectible hobby's most transparent, tech-powered marketplace and grading platform, making Arena Club's official partnership with official partnership with an NBA franchise. Literally, they're going to be doing stuff, surprise giveaways, interactive promotions, game day moments. They are taking sports cards to the San Antonio Spurs games, arena, fans, etc. I think it's super cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, especially if they get players involved. If they get players involved, that's a really good experience.
Well, they've already gotten players involved. Look at Giannis doing the Arena Club Giannis Freak Pack.
Yep.
Cool. And obviously, if you can get Wemby involved, if you can get De'Aaron Fox, if you can get some of the guys on the team involved too, but I absolutely can foresee at the stadium, the whole, if you're in row K, seat 43, you just won an Arena Club slab pack.
Yep.
But it's going to be, I would bet you, a San Antonio Spurs slab pack where every card is going to be a really cool Spurs card.
Yep.
And what this does, and this is one of the things that, to the Fanatic side, the biggest thing that the hobby needs is to find ways to get those passionate sports fans to become passionate collectors. And you need to expose them to that. Fanatics Fest is a great way that that's happening, that they are, bringing in people doing it during the World Cup to get all these people to come in and say, whoa, look at all these collectible things. It's going to be crazy. but it's going to be really good for the hobby.
Very
And I
good.
think that this is the same type of thing that you get, 30, 40,000 people for 41 games that are
Hmm.
home games for the NBA season that are being exposed to whether they win a slab pack, whether they just see somebody. I mean, they're going to be ripping slab packs on the Jumbotron.
Yeah. How much more fun does that get?
Like, that's sick.
I would lose a lot of money if I had that ability. So I'm okay
But
with
I
that
think
now.
that it's super, super cool. And I suspect that this is not going to be, this may be the first, it's not going to be the last team
Oh yeah,
that
that's
has the
that,
partnership.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really exciting and really, really cool. And it's just
Great.
cool news. So I thought that'd be fun to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then transitioning us to the big topic of the day, which is we are only a few days away from playoff football.
Finally.
Finally. Now, the Tennessee Titans, you got your Titans sweatshirt on. They are nowhere near playoff football.
No, no. We looked
But
better though.
there are a
Last
lot of
time we looked
teams.
better.
Hey, someday maybe. There are, though, a lot of teams who are vying for the Lombardi Trophy.
Yep.
It is a very, very different year for the playoffs.
Completely.
No Lamar Jackson, no Patrick Mahomes, no Joe Burrow. Like, there's
I
a
will say, I
lot of
don't know why
big
people
guys.
think that, though. The no Joe Burrow thing.
What?
Burrow's not been here for a little bit. I
No,
kind of
but
wish
when
that
Burrow
would get
when
thrown.
Burrow has played in the playoffs, he has played very, very well, which is why I think that people are looking at it and saying, had some of those big name quarterbacks that drive the card market, but also drive like the league.
Yeah.
They have that it factor. Like the reason that Mahomes is obviously he's incredibly talented, but he also shows up when
Mhm.
when the stage is the biggest, which is the playoffs. And this year we have a lot of those guys who we feel like show up in those big moments or
Yeah.
are those big superstars that are not here.
Yeah.
And I
100%.
think that that creates a lot of really, really interesting opportunities from a card market perspective, which we're going to talk about. But first, I want to talk a little bit about our playoff predictions.
Love it.
So let's do yours first, Brandon, and then we're going to do mine. We're going to see who you have in all the games going all the way.
Okay. Perfect.
First off, Chargers Patriots. What do you think?
You already know where I'm going here. This is my one of
Chargers?
my upsets this week. I am taking the Chargers here. I think the Patriots are heading towards a beautiful future, and I think they're doing a lot of things right. I just think at the end of the day, I think that schedule is going to catch up to them. When you get into some of these tight games in the playoffs, I just think there's Chargers defense is going to keep it close enough. I'm taking Chargers 24-21.
Okay. I conceptually agree with your concept that the Patriots had a really easy schedule and they are building something very, very good. I don't know that I'm going to pick them to lose here, but we'll go through my picks
Mhm.
in a bit. Because the cool thing about this website, myplayoffpicks.com, is that it automatically will do your bracket and reseed everything depending on who you pick because
Okay,
it's really easy to make those mistakes.
that's definitely nice.
Jags Bills.
You know where I'm going here. We're going Bills. I think the Jags are also having a way better season. The offense is looking great ever since Jacoby Myers just came over. The passing game has looked a lot better, but I also think it's very inflated numbers. They've beaten the Titans twice, the Colts twice, and the Jets in this eight game span. And I also do not like going into the playoffs on a big win streak. And you got Josh Allen on the other side, taking the Bills.
Interesting. This is a game that I'm very torn on for the record. I'm not positive which direction I'm going. I think it's going to be a great game though.
Yeah, it is 100%.
Steelers Texans.
This one's actually pretty easy to me. I'm also taking the Texans.
I don't think there's much question here.
Yeah, I think
Personally.
the Steelers not having the ability to run the ball is going to kill them in that game.
Okay, now we're into the divisional round. Broncos Chargers for you.
This one's hard to me because I'm not a fan of the Broncos.
I'm not either.
But I do think at home they get the win here. You would probably expect some snow or at least a really cold game here, so I'm taking the Broncos.
Okay.
Defense will carry
And
it
then
now.
Texans Bills.
To me, this is one of the game of the playoffs. It may not seem like it, but you're getting a defensively heavy team versus a very good offensive team. You're still going to give me Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. All right. AFC Championship game.
This
Who's
is where
going
I,
to the Super Bowl?
This is where I don't believe in the Broncos. I'm taking Josh Allen again. I know it's the narrative of if there is a year, it's this year. So for me personally, as a Josh Allen fan, I'm going to ride that narrative.
All right. Now on to the NFC. Bears, Packers. So I think I was listening to the Fantasy Footballers podcast the other day.
Mm-hmm.
The last team that the Chicago Bears beat was the Packers.
Was the Packers.
The last team that the Green Bay Packers beat was the Bears.
Was the Bears. The Bears-Packers game last time was really good.
Yeah.
I think here they did announce Jordan Love's healthy. He's good to go. I am taking the Packers here. I just think it comes down to who I think is better at quarterback. And I just think Jordan Love has a little bit of edge over Caleb Williams.
I think I agree with you in that I think that experience is going to matter here. And I think that Bears team does not have a ton of it, but we'll see. Eagles, Niners.
I wish this game was healthy because to me this would also be up there for game of the playoffs. 49ers defensive injuries are just going to not be good in this game. I'm not even a huge fan of the Eagles and how they've looked this year, but I think they did win this one.
Yeah, I think I agree with you here. Panthers, Rams.
Blowout Rams next.
Rams are, a 10.5-point favorite, despite the fact that last time they were in Carolina, the Panthers beat them. It's the Rams. Seahawks, Packers.
I think this would be a very good game. I really do. I do think the home field advantage a little bit and the Seahawks defense right now. I know Sam Darnold's on the other side, which I don't trust, but I'll take the Seahawks here.
Seahawks are that guy. Eagles, Rams.
I honestly think this is kind of another cruiser for the Rams. I just think offensively they got everything they need, and the Eagles should be the best team in the NFL, but just something's off this year chemistry wise.
Yeah. Well, and I think we're a little revenge for the playoffs last year, too. Yeah. Then the divisional matchup to close out the NFC, Seahawks-Rams.
And you know where I'm going here. I'm going to Rams as well here. Just have that, especially after the 2-point conversion. But unfortunately here, I'm also taking the Rams.
So you've got Rams over Bills in the Super Bowl. So here, for everybody watching along on YouTube or the video Spotify, here is Brendan's picks. I'm going to download that so we keep
definitely upset heavy. But like I said, I think a lot of these higher seeds are they're better built teams for the playoffs.
Yep. I see that. Now I'm going to refresh the page because I want to go through mine.
Okay.
I think I'm going different. I think I'm taking the Patriots. I agree with you conceptually that I think that the Pats had a very easy schedule, similar-ish to the Commanders last year, where the Commanders had a super easy schedule because they were such a bad team. And they were, granted, the Commanders also made a run in the playoffs last year.
Yeah. When you come in
the
with
Pats are going to make that large of a run.
Yeah.
But I think they can beat the Chargers.
Yeah. And Patriots fans, please do not attack me in the comments. I think you guys are a good football team. It's just a little.
Patriots fans, attack away.
We always joke about it on
Jaguars, Bills. I think this is. You said the Texans versus the Bills. You thought was the game of the playoffs. I think that this might be the game.
Mm-hmm.
I probably lean Buffalo for the playoff experience.
There we go.
But I'm taking the Jags.
Oh no way. Oh no.
Did you see Trevor Lawrence with the grills?
I did. No, that was hey, I like T-Law.
Man is going to come out with the grills.
There's going to be some sport in that game.
It's going to be a good game. I think it is. And if we come back next week and the Bills blow out the Jags, I'm not surprised, and I will happily say that I was incorrect.
No, and I'm also not surprised
if
the Jags win. I mean, it's not. I don't look at that game and I'm like, I'm not
great team. Broncos, Texans. I feel like I'm gonna take the Texans.
Thank you. It's the defense.
I feel like the Broncos, I'm going to be honest, I think Bo Nix is overrated.
He is.
I think that he is a great. Calling him a game manager is, I think, a little bit of disrespect to him.
I was going to say,
But
be
I
careful.
think that he's great at managing games.
Yeah.
And I think that when it comes down to it, Stroud tossing it to Nico Collins, that defense, like I think that it's going to be a close game, but I think that I'm going to lean towards, again, the experience. Stroud has won a playoff game in every single season that he's played.
Mm-hmm.
I think that.
Yeah.
This is where the Patriots run into the loss. We're taking the Jags.
So
Jags, Texans.
Jags, Texans, same division.
It's an interesting one.
Going into the year, everybody said this was the worst division in football. I'm just saying.
And I think we're getting the redemption arc for Trevor Lawrence. Everybody thought that he was cooked at the start of the season. Jaguars are heading to the
man.
Yeah. Packers, Bears, I'm going to agree with you. I think that the experience, this is the third time that this matchup has happened this season, and I think the experience of the Packers is going to help. I'm a little concerned given the lack of Micah Parsons, but I think that I'm going to go with the Packers.
Yep.
Eagles, Niners, after seeing and I know the Seahawks are arguably the best team in football.
Mm-hmm.
After seeing what the Seahawks just did to the Niners, I have no faith in that Niners team.
It's just the injury.
Panthers, Rams. I want to pick the Panthers, but it's the Rams.
A blowout.
Seahawks, Packers. I think it's the Seahawks. I think without much question. I think the offense is better. I think the defense is better. I think they're a better football team top to bottom, and they are at home.
But the question is, do you trust Sam Darnold?
I do. I think that the big thing with Sam Darnold that has happened this year is I think that we saw Sam Darnold. The reason why Sam Darnold only got a 3-year contract was because of the collapse that happened at the end of the year last year with the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't happen this year.
It should have, but...
You say it should have, but it didn't.
Sure, but the Rams missed a field goal. Took some very fluky plays. He threw 4 interceptions against the Rams the first time. It didn't happen. But I can't. Like I said, I picked Seahawks here too, but this is it for me.
All right, we'll see. I agree with you here. It's going to be the Rams over the Eagles. I don't think the Eagles historically have had their ups and downs throughout the season, but going into the playoffs, they have always kind of been on a upswing. Mm-hmm. I don't think they have it. I think team chemistry's off. I think that things are just off with our Eagles right now, and I think the Rams are clicking.
100%.
And we already saw it. The Seahawks are better than the Rams. Seahawks head of the
You gotta let the people know this man is a Seahawks fan.
I don't care. We're the best team in football.
But you gotta let the people know this is a bias pick.
I recognize my bias. It has been checked at the door. We are the best team in football.
Hey, I respect it. So
and
Seahawks.
Then I think that this is a great game. Seahawks Jags. I think it's an exciting game. I think it's very good. I do think that if this were to be the matchup, I think that the Seahawks defense is what puts them above. Here.
Yeah, big Seahawks here.
I think Seahawks going all the way.
Yeah, ours is completely different. Like I said,
completely different. So I'm going to be super, super curious to check in after, each of the matchups, see how we're doing. I'm curious to see who is more right. I know that it's going to be me, but that's fine. The last thing that I want to talk about here with the playoffs is what is the strategy if you have cards of some of these guys. If you have Josh Allen cards or if you have Matt Stafford cards, Brendan, you have them going to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
If you have Sam Darnold or Trevor Lawrence or whatever, or if you have Justin Herbert, you don't think that the Chargers are going to win everything, but if you think they're going to beat the Patriots, go into Foxborough and beat them, there are going to be some big swings.
huge buying opportunity.
opportunity-wise.
Yeah.
My opinion, generally when it comes to trying to time the card market, is if everybody's zigging, you should zag.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going left, you should go right. And what I mean by that is if the Chargers beat the Patriots, there is going to be a huge demand for Justin Herbert cards.
Oh yeah, ton of it.
Ton of it. Sell his stuff right there.
Yeah.
100%.
Could
they go on the next game and beat, whoever they end up playing next, whether it, in your scenario, it's the Broncos, they absolutely could go beat the Broncos.
Yeah, 100%.
I would not be shocked if that were to happen. And of course, if that happens, guess what? Herbert cards are going to go up again.
Yep.
But you know what? I'm personally a fan and believer of locking in those profits.
Yeah.
And saying, let's make our money and move on.
I definitely think it's player based. So like but just based off of your pick, somebody like Trevor Lawrence, I think it is okay if you buy before this first playoff game and hold until he wins or loses or whatever. But how you have him going to the Super Bowl, somebody like him, I think it's okay to hold throughout the playoffs because T-Law to me is always going to be a quarterback that he just always has been. People like him.
With Grant from Backyard Breaks pumping him constantly, he's going to be relevant.
So, I mean, but from a Justin Herbert standpoint, you're going to see a really big price jump from if he beats the Patriots to the next round of courses. So, on Justin Herbert's standpoint, I agree 100%. Sell if he wins round one. But somebody another example would be like Jordan Love. Jordan Love would be somebody I'm not really rushing on selling in the playoffs personally. Just because they're so early in the career anyway. We know the Packers are going to be back in the playoffs. We know Trevor Lawrence, they're going to be back in the playoffs for a while. So I think you really just have to look at it by team and really break it down from that standpoint.
Yeah. I also think that's interesting from a strategy standpoint. And I know, on SCN this week, Mike was talking about he's doing his big eBay live show Sunday at 6:30, and he was talking about some of his strategy. So he talked about that Mike's going to be selling, a bunch of Aaron Rodgers cards on Sunday night. Mm-hmm. I think that's the right strategy. You 100%. Think that Aaron Rodgers is going to likely lose that game.
Mm-hmm.
But the Steelers fans and the people that collect Aaron Rodgers and believe in Aaron Rodgers, they have the hope and upside that he could win that game.
Yep.
And by selling those cards beforehand, you are able to capitalize on the what could be, on the I think, that we have a legitimate shot at beating the Texans. We're at home, getting DK Metcalf back, et cetera, et cetera. Could Mike be leaving money on the table by selling Aaron Rodgers early? Maybe. But I think that that's the correct call. At the same time, though, he's also running the risk of, he's talked about trying to sell, Trevor Lawrence cards on Sunday as well. I got a bunch of T-Law, or he's talking about Bryce Young as a guy. If Bryce Young wins that game, his stuff is going to pop. But if he drops,
it would go up. Yeah.
But if they lose that game, I think his stuff is it's not going to take the same level of hit as a Caleb Williams maybe.
Yeah.
But if Mike is selling on Sunday night on eBay Live these cards of guys whose playoff fates have already been determined, then it's an interesting question, because if it's the guys who have won, if the Panthers pull off the upset, or if, Trevor Lawrence wins, yeah, he's going to make some good money there.
Yeah.
But if they lose, then, and this is where I want to go back to the zigging versus zagging, you could actually have a decent buying opportunity.
Yeah.
I remember, what was it, 2021 maybe? The Eagles got bounced from the playoffs. They lost. And I bought so much Jalen Hurts stuff for pennies on the dollar because people were freaking out that the Eagles lost.
Yeah.
And that's not to say go buy every quarterback that loses.
Yeah, no, you definitely got to believe in the future of the team.
Yes. But if you look at, a guy who's, I don't expect this market to tank, but like to our Bryce Young point,
Mm-hmm.
that Panthers team, I think, has the potential to have a bright future.
Yeah.
You know,
They have plenty of weapons. It's just about
Ted's
how
a
they
fantastic player. They're going to have more. They're going to add more to that team. They've got a couple of good running backs with Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard. Like, they've got some talent there. They are building and have clearly shown this year flashes of what can or could be.
Yep.
If the Panthers get absolutely blown out and destroyed, which is possible, and you see Bryce Young prices drop 30, 40%,
you got to pick up
buy some Bryce Young.
Yeah, you got to. You have to.
And the thing is, if you are able to capitalize on some of those live sales, a lot of times we all know that live sales can be volatile. They can swing both ways. You can have the $3 card that sells for 13, but you can also have the $30 card that sells for 10.
Yep.
Because I think that the live sale, more than anything, taps into just the like feelings of people.
Yep.
It's a lot more based in the just like, how do I feel about this player? How do I feel about this card? And a lot less based on like the like, this is the comp value for this, and that's what's most important to me. If Mike on Sunday has some of these guys that lose, there's also, I think, going to be some really good buying opportunities.
Yep.
Even though I would probably have said to Mike, had Mike come to me and said, "Hey, eBay live show this Sunday at 6:30, what guy should I be thinking about selling?" I would have said, go do this exercise and figure out who you think is going to play well.
Yep.
And get those guys in. And you're going to be wrong on some of them. You can't predict every single game.
Yeah, you can't predict them all.
But pick the guys that you think are going to win, not the guys that you think are going to lose. And it's funny, Mike runs his business in a stand-up way, but like he talks about on the show, goes, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is a good buy right now, but I'm selling him. I'm like, so what guy's going to come buy it then?
There's another question that I would like to bring up for people is, realistically, though, somebody that's established. Okay, a bunch of these quarterbacks aren't fully established, like career-wise. Yeah. But Rodgers, he's been there. He's done everything. What does a win versus the Texans really mean for a Rodgers card market aspect? I don't really think it does anything. To see a substantial jump in Rodgers card market, he would have to make a full run. Personally, yeah, you would have to go to the Super Bowl. Like I don't think Rodgers winning 1, even 2 games really does anything to his card market, because he's somebody he's already been there. He's done that. People know what Rodgers is. They know everything about Rodgers. Now somebody like T-Law, we haven't really seen a deep playoff run. So yes, it's just, you just got to take it on a player by player basis. I definitely would not be buying any Rodgers. I think his career is what it is.
Yeah, it has to be, and that's where like people love to buy into the hype. It has to be something that is altering the way that player's legacy is perceived. Mm-hmm. So Josh Allen, I think Josh Allen, you will not see a move in his card prices up unless he makes the Super Bowl.
Yep.
You might see small little like, oh my goodness, he won. Like now he's got a 1 in 4 chance.
Yeah.
You are not going to see the real value growth until he makes the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Mike mentioned it on Monday's pod of CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud has won a playoff game multiple times. Mm-hmm. That's not something that if they beat the Steelers, everybody's going to be like, okay, yeah. That's what we thought was going to happen.
But then you got somebody like Caleb Williams. He goes in there, beats the Packers, and
then we're talking.
You're going to see a nice increase in Caleb Williams. Somebody like Sam Darnold is right on that 50-50 level. Sam Darnold's one of the tough ones, in my opinion, because he's been in the NFL for a decent amount of years, and it's like, how far does Sam Darnold have to go to see an actual increase in his cards? At the end of the year, nobody really asked for Sam Darnold cards.
Darnold is tough because I feel like, and I do not want to diminish what he has done this year, because he has been a fantastic quarterback.
Amazing. Yeah.
But I feel like he is going to be perceived similar to Jalen Hurts They're very different players.
Yeah.
But the perception of being carried by these skill position players around him, he's got one of, if not the best wide receivers in the league in Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's got a great run game with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. Amazing, amazing, amazing defense.
Amazing defense.
That there's enough things around him that he is not carrying that team. And even if he does carry the team, people in the market will find ways to make the excuse of, oh, well, he's got all these other things.
Yeah.
Whereas Trevor Lawrence right now, with the way that he's playing, he is carrying that team. And don't get me wrong, Parker Washington is balling out. That dude's been amazing. ETN has had a great season.
Yep.
But Trevor Lawrence
we've seen
is the reason that team is winning.
Yep.
And that's where you also look at it in terms of what the perception on that player is and how important they are to that run. If you were to swap Sam Darnold and Trevor Lawrence,
it's a different story.
The Seahawks are a significantly better team, and the Jaguars are probably not in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I say that as a Seahawks fan who thinks that Sam Darnold has been fantastic, amazing, and I'm very happy to have him on the team. The one other thing that I want to highlight for people in terms of a little bit of education on trying to time the market. One of the things that I've also talked a lot about is determining whether or not the upside of something is already priced in.
Yep.
So let's say that Josh Allen makes the Super Bowl. Say that you're right that they make the Super Bowl. Unless you are Brendan, who PCs Josh Allen and is going to hold his cards no matter what. If you bought that card with the intention of flipping it, if they make it to the Super Bowl, sell it.
I'm out. Yeah. Even
out.
Yeah.
Because at that point, the market generally is pricing those cards as if he's won.
Yep.
He's made it. He's there. He just got to do it. The market has made the assumption.
Even call-up day, market-wise, is always better than anything. It don't matter what he does. That call-up day price, it's as if he already won a World Series and an MVP. And it works. It works the same in the football market.
And I know Jalen Hurts is a somewhat hard example because, as we talked about, he's not given as much credit as he maybe deserves. But when they made the Super Bowl versus when they won the Super Bowl,
his prices didn't
really change much.
Nope.
He got a bump when they made the Super Bowl.
Yeah. You saw a bump for a few weeks, and then the Super Bowl, after they won, it was kind of like they've already peaked.
And I think that it's a very, very big thing. I think that it has to be, to our point, it has to be legacy defining.
Yeah.
Stafford winning the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Massive for his legacy.
Huge. But making the Super Bowl, I don't think it does that much. I really don't.
Yep. Making it there, but if you think he's going to win it, sell it when he makes it, because the market most likely has priced that in already.
Yep.
They've priced in the win.
Yep.
So I'm going to be super, super curious to see what happens this weekend. I'm excited for some playoff football. I'm curious from you guys that are listening, who do you think had the better playoff picks? Ultimately, we're going to know here in a couple of weeks, but we know that the Bills are losing round one. Am I right?
I really hope not for Josh Allen's sake.
I know. It would be so ironic and not funny.
Yeah.
If the season that Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow were all not there.
Yep.
Josh Allen is around one.
He'll throw for 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the kicker will miss a field goal, and it'll be Josh Allen's fault.
Yeah, it would be. That would be something, but we will see, and we'll have more information during next week's episode of the Hobby Handbook. I appreciate you guys coming on. I appreciate listening. I appreciate you coming on again, Brendan. It was great to have you.
Absolutely.
And make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Check out our live streams. Check out Mike's live stream on Sunday on eBay Live. We will catch you guys in next week's episode.
Thank you, guys.